Good morning and good day to everyone. I am Kevin Yong Hua Yue from Sha'ala Learning Center with the matrix number of 9504121357610001. I'm currently taking OUMH 1303, which is the English for Oral Communication in Open University. I was asked to prepare an informative speech as per coursework requirement for this course. In this speech, I would like to talk about Sarawak culture, Chinese traditional food in Sarawak, and I would like to make it as a descriptive speech. First, I would like to thank my e-tutor, Madam Eti Fairuz, who guided me a lot in developing this speech earlier. This will be the outline of my speech. First, the purpose of speech. Second, the introduction of Chinese culture in Sarawak, which will be a brief history about the Chinese culture. Third, will be the Chinese traditional food in Sarawak, which is the types of food, the origin, and the dialect. The fourth one will be the list of famous food in Sarawak. The last one will be the conclusion. The main purpose of the speech is to share with you guys about Sarawak culture, history of Chinese and Chinese culture in Sarawak, and several types of famous Chinese traditional foods. The second purpose is to share and recommend my Chinese friends to try the Chinese food in Sarawak. The third purpose will be training and demonstrating the ability and confidence in preparing and practicing effective communication skills in any settings. Okay, now I would like to share with you guys about Sarawak culture, which is a brief introduction about Sarawak culture. Basically, Sarawak is the biggest state in Malaysia with the population of 2.6 million, which is formed by multiple races and culture. For example, Malay, Chinese, and Dayaks. Sarawakians share the celebration of all festivals of all race. All of the residents in Sarawak lives together happily. I would like to share with you guys about the history of the Chinese population in Sarawak. Chinese people first came to Sarawak as traders and explorers in the 6th century. Today, they are made up of 24% of population of Sarawak and consists of communities built from the 19th and early 20th century. The Sarawak Chinese belong to a wide range of dialect groups, such as Hakka, Fuchao, Xinhua, Teochew, and the minority of Hainanese. Although the Chinese in Sarawak has different dialects, they still celebrate the same festivals such as Lunar Chinese New Year. Most of the Chinese in Sarawak involves themselves in business, logistics, and timber. Okay, now let's come to the main point of my speech. For me, food is the most important things in my life. I work for food. Without food, I can't live. So what about you? I'm a Sarawak Chinese from Cebu Division with the dialect of Fuchao. So now, let's come to the most interesting part of my speech, which is types of famous traditional foods in Sarawak. Okay, first one, kampua or kolok mee. Kampua is a cheap and simple food, usually served in the old Chinese restaurant, which is known as kopitiam. Basically, the price will be range around 2 to 3 ringgit per dish. Kampua is originated from Cebu, while kolomi is originated from Kuching. Kampua and kolomi usually serve with pork meat. Some Malays also serve it without pork in Sarawak, which is halal. Okay, the second one will be kompia. Kompia is a type of traditional homemade bread by the Chinese Fuzhou dialect. Kompia is made with lard, onions, salt and flour, baked by Chinese in oven. Kompia is really cheap and nice. The price is range around 1 ringgit per 4 pieces. It can be served by putting pork in between. Can be served to Muslim if without pork too. Okay, the third one is Sarawak Laksa. Traditional Sarawak Laksa is a famous Sarawak noodle dish which looks like the normal curry laksa. The price range of Sarawak Laksa is around 2 to 3 ringgit per dish, which depends on the restaurant. It is usually served in both Chinese and Malay restaurants. For me, Sarawak Laksa is super delicious and really addicting. The fourth one is Chao Ju Mian. Chao Ju Mian is a Fuzhou braised fried noodles. It is a typical traditional Fuzhou dish which served in most Chinese restaurants in Sarawak, especially Cebu division. It is made out of mee with soup and added ingredients of seafood and vegetables. The price range of this dish is around 4 to 5 ringgit. It is usually served in Chinese restaurant only. The fifth one is kacama. Kacama is a traditional confinement dish for women but has since evolved to an all-rounded popular dish craved by men and non-pregnant women too. It is made out of chicken and Chinese herbs, and it is also very nutritious. The price range of this dish is around 5 to 6 ringgit. It is served in most Chinese restaurants or homemade also. By the way, it also served in Malay restaurant in Cebu. Okay, the sixth one will be money chai with eggs. Money chai, or simply changkot manis, is a sweet shrub or leafy vegetables that often get sidelined in West Malaysia. It is a stir-fried money chai with eggs. This dish is best to eat with rice. The price is around 7 to 8 ringgit per dish. I believe that all of you guys have ever tried this dish in a restaurant in Semenanjung too. It is served in most Chinese and Malay restaurants in Semenanjung and Sarawak. Okay, the seventh one will be the layer cakes and cakes with brownie. Sarawak is famous for its layer cake or cake lapis. For your information, the layer cake comes in so many different flavors and patterns that it's hard to pinpoint a single most delicious cake. The price range of this cake is range around 15 to 20 ringgit per cake. It is expensive because the hard work and time-consuming method of baking the cake layer by layer. Basically, it is sold in both Chinese and Malay bakery in Sarawak and also imported to Semenanjung for all the people in Semenanjung to take. Okay, let's come to the conclusion of my speech today. If you have not visited Sarawak before, perhaps it is time to consider a gastronomic journey to this wonderful land of hornbills, just to be sure to bring a sense of adventure and an empty stomach here. Thanks for listening and paying attention to my speech.